Hi, good morning, everybody.
Morning, afternoon. Afternoon.
Oh, afternoon. Thanks for that correction, Candace.
Is it Tuesday or Monday?
It's Thursday.
Oh, it's almost Friday.
That's right. Well, good. Hi, Wayne, Sam, LaDon, William. Believe we have a quorum.
And James.
And James, excellent. Good afternoon. Let's go ahead and call the meeting to order. We're going to start with the approval of the February 2023 meeting votes. Any comments or questions? And if not, if I can have a call for vote, please.
I make that motion. We approve the minutes as presented. It's Candace.
Second, this is LaDon.
Thank you, Candace and LaDon. All those in favor signify by aye.
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 Any opposed? Great. Thank you all. Next up, Allison. Allison, I believe you have some announcements for us and some director's comments.
I do. Exciting. I guess first is congratulations, Anthea. Anthea has officially been reappointed in her role as State Housing Board CD1 position. So congratulations. But we also have two new board members that I'm excited to introduce. And so today is their first meeting. So representing Congressional District 3, we have Monique Terpstra Sturgeon. I'll let Monique say a few things, but before she starts, I just want to tell you a little bit about her. I'm really excited to be introducing her. Monique is a Ute Mountain Ute who grew up in Montezuma County and now lives in Mesa County. Monique is director of the Western Slope Native American Resource Center. This is the first Native American Resource Center on the Western Slope and was recently established in June of 2022. Monique is committed to bringing culturally sensitive programs to the Western Slope for all Native Americans, as well as helping to educate everyone on the history and who we are. I will say Monique and who her community is. So thank you, Monique. She's also currently the Colorado Cross Disability Coalition's Director of Indigenous Disability, which focuses on advocating for disabled American Indians and helping with all the complicated paperwork and programs that serve folks with disabilities. So Monique also serves as a board member of the Denver Indian Health, Family Services, and Rocky Mountain Health Plans Community Strategy Committee, the Rocky Mountain Client Council, and the Rocky Mountain Health Program Improvement Advisory Committee. So we are very excited to have Monique, her expertise, representing the State Housing Board and also Congressional District 3. Monique, do you want to say hi?
Hi, everybody. And I just want to thank everybody for this opportunity. I'm excited to learn and represent District 3.
We're very excited to have you. Welcome. We have another new board member as well. So representing Congressional District 6, so Nancy Jackson, Dr. Jackson, recently retired, actually January 23rd, after 3 terms for Arapahoe County Commissioner, and 2 of which she was the chair of the county commission. She served on numerous boards and committees, including Arapahoe County Justice Coordinating Committee, Arapahoe County Homelessness Committee, and chair of the Public Safety and Justice Steering Committee of Colorado Counties, Inc. And then also Rocky Mountain Crisis Partners. She brings a wealth of experience. She's currently also serving on numerous regional boards, including the Aurora Mental Health, Bridge House, or Ready to Work, and the Arapahoe County Board of Public Health. So we're also very excited to have our longtime partner, Nancy Jackson, as our Congressional District 6 board member. Nancy, do you want to say hi?
Can you hear me now? I'm on the
Yes, we
phone.
can hear you now. Oh, she's on the phone.
Yeah.
And it sounds like with a not great
But
connection.
I'm really, yeah, I'm in the car. I'll be home in a few minutes and then I'll be able to talk to you. But I'm absolutely honored to be appointed to this board, and I'm anxious to learn and to help support housing. That's what we need. And I'm also, as you mentioned, very interested in the behavioral health aspect of our unhoused folks. So looking forward to the work of this committee.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Nancy and Monique. We are ecstatic to have you joining us. So I just have a few other updates if folks don't have any questions for Monique or Nancy. Okay, well then I will keep going. The Division of Housing, together with our partners with the Division of Local Government, OEDIT, and CHAFA, and then Gary Investments as well, are continuing our efforts in rolling out Proposition 123. And so last month, the Division of Housing shared draft baseline data for local governments to consider as they are looking to opt in to Proposition 123 and the funding that would be available through that proposition. And so there is another public meeting tomorrow, March 15th, that folks can join. And we'll be diving more into the local data where folks have to set a baseline of what their affordable housing stock is, because then they will be committing to an increase of 3% from that baseline. And so that public meeting is tomorrow, and I would encourage anyone that's interested to participate in that. In addition, I just wanted to mention the local officials toolkit. So with the passage of House Bill 21-1271, there was a toolkit that was created with that. And that's the local officials toolkit. And so that has been kicked off. There is a great online set of tools that folks can access through this toolkit. But in addition, we're providing intensive technical assistance. We did a kickoff with Toolkit 101. Thank you, Andrew, actually, for adding that to the chat. If anybody wants to find out more information, the link is in the chat. And so they did a kickoff last month, and they had 60 participants, local official participants. So that's exciting to see. In addition, talking about toolkits, we have a developer's toolkit. So this is different than the local officials. So one is really geared toward those locally elected officials that might change on a regular basis. And so making sure people are informed about how their decisions impact their affordable housing stock, that's the local officials toolkit. The developers toolkit is focused on anybody that's interested in what it takes to do affordable housing. This is an interactive toolkit process where we sit around the tables, we talk about what it takes from all different perspectives to get a deal done. We get great reviews for this training, so much so even like NeighborWorks has put this into their training modules with DOH's support. So that developers toolkit will be available in Greeley in person, April 13th and 14th. And so sign up is happening now. If anybody has any questions about anything I mentioned today, I'm happy to answer questions. If not, if you have other questions, you can ask those as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Allison. You mentioned an increase for Prop 123 of 3% from the baseline. Where did that 3% come from? Why 3%?
So it's not an increase. This is how the ballot initiative was actually written. And so it's not an increase in funding. What it is a local government, in order to receive or be eligible, I should say, to receive funding through Proposition 123. And so this includes developers that want to do a development in their area, or it includes if local governments want to apply for funds. They have to commit. They have to opt in to what affordable housing they currently have in their community. So that's called the baseline. And then on an annual basis, and it's in 3-year increments, I should say they have to commit to 3% increase in that baseline every year. So DOH will be assessing through 3 years a 9% increase. So if a locality does 2% in 1 year, but then 4% in the next year, there's not going to be a problem with that. But if they don't make the overall 9% increase over 3 years, then they wouldn't be eligible for a year until they reconsidered their commitment to affordable housing.
Thank you. Is that based off of the units that are created or the affordability that's offered?
It's the units that are created above and beyond what their baseline is.
Great. Thank you. Sam?
Thanks, Anthea. Allison, what's defined in the bill as affordable housing that the communities would have to meet?
That's such a good question, and it's very specific. And so it's so specific, we can send you the information. And so we'll make that publicly available for you, because I don't have that in front of me to read to you. But essentially, it is what is affordability is generally based on what your income is, and then no more than 30% of that income toward housing costs.
Are they limited to, calculating it based on units that you're creating below like a certain AMI level, like 80% or 120%?
Generally speaking, yes. But the devil is always in the details. And so I would prefer providing the exact language to you.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Allison, and congratulations and welcome to Monique and Nancy. We're really excited to have you on board. I'm honored to have my term renewed. This is a fantastic board to be a part of, and I'm sure you will find as much value as we all have so far. The work that the Division of Housing does is just amazing. We are going to move on to the project application review stage. And starting today, we'll have Warren Village 3 with Teresa McCoy presenting.
Hi, yeah, I'd like to introduce Ethan Hemming from Warren Village, as well as Melissa McGinley-Stube and Sue Powers from Urban Ventures. Take it away, folks.
Thank you. Great to be here. And do you mind if I share my screen to do a quick PowerPoint?
Go for it.
Okay, great. So we are just so pleased to be here. The incredible support that has gotten us to this point. It's hard for me to compress what's going on with Warren Village 3 into 5 minutes, but I promise I will do that. So we have slides to keep me on track. The first is just to show you a quick rendering of, we have 2 buildings. This is the south building. It shows you a beautiful view of the apartments as well as an early learning center down below. This gives you a little bit of an idea of where our project is. Southwest Denver, one of the most impacted neighborhoods in Denver, and we are excited and being welcomed into that neighborhood to provide services and housing. We will be literally right next to the Women's Bean Project, which is going to be a wonderful partner for Warren Village, and I'll talk more about partners in just a minute. But I do want to really emphasize a couple things. A single slide with a lot of information. So we are really billing this as Colorado's first ever intentional supportive housing for, single parents and their children. If we can extrapolate from Warren Village's current population, we tend to serve single moms and dads who are between about 24 and 29 years old, about 2 kids per family on average. 75% of those we serve are BIPOC, and around half or more are victims and recovering from domestic violence. So that gives you an idea of who we serve now, and we anticipate serving generally a similar profile in our new location. It's super important for us to really talk about the demand for this project and the demand for housing, services, and early care all in one place. As an organization, we have been studying the issue of demand for over 5 years through our own studies, as well as, of course, relying on the Metro Denver Homeless Initiative's data, which really, if you look at their most recent report, for single parents, you have to interpolate a little bit, but we're looking at a high-end demand of close to 400 and maybe a lower-end demand of about 170. So at the very best, with a low-end demand, we're going to serve about half of that at a new location. But regardless, there's need for this services for this really niche population. We made this as big as we could. We were fortunate to get a variance from the city last June, so we're up to 89 units in 2 buildings, 8 one-bedrooms with a crib alcove, 62 2-bedrooms and 19 3-bedrooms. We also really like to call out and to point out that the design that we have worked so intentionally on with our builder and our architect and our developer partners is really aligned to the needs of our unique population. So heavy emphasis on community-based services, partner space, college and workforce training classrooms, private rooms for one-on-one counseling, a kids club room, and then of course our early learning center. And I think that I'd like to elaborate just a little bit more on that because we know we're unique, right? We know we're different. But our intention is to provide really deep and holistic services that are needed based on the range of needs that are presented by the population we serve. Our plan is to exceed the ratios that the state requires for supportive housing. We want to provide comprehensive services that start with safety, being trauma-informed, case management, mental health, medical, occupational, educational, financial coaching for the adults, right, for the parents. And again, we're a 2-gen model. So we provide services for the adults and then their kiddos in one place at one time with the greatest likelihood of success for both generations. Our kiddos are going to have really 2 channels of services. One would be the learning center. The actual state licensed early learning center will serve over 100 kiddos. That's we anticipate to have most of the kiddos, but we'll have services for elementary age as well through our Kids Club program. And I guess I'd conclude with partnership, because partnership is what Warren Village has been about for 50 years. People come together to support our mission. And whether that be our developer partner, Sue and Melissa and Ryan, or the members of the Division of Housing who have worked with us so patiently for many years to reach this vision. But we have also more concrete service partners on the ground lined up. Mile High United Way will be a big one. Well Power. We've started conversations with Valverde Elementary and DPS School. DU, Lifespan Local, who is about a block away from us, of course, our Women's Bean Project, Housed and Healthy, and Teach for America. Those are just a couple that I rattled off. Not all of them have MOUs with us, of course, at this point, but the point is we can't do this work alone, right? We're going to do it in partnership with mission-aligned services for the greatest impact for those that we serve in Southwest Denver. And one last graphic of the north building, which will be all residential with the first floor being community space and office space. So I will stop sharing. Okay. So I don't know if Sue and Melissa, Ryan, you want to add anything, or if you, I would love to entertain any questions.
I think you covered it, so let's just take any questions.
Fantastic. Thank you. Any questions from the board? Sam?
Ethan, thank you for the excellent presentation. I noticed in the write-up there wasn't any cost indicated for land. Were you able to get the land? Is that part of the ground lease from the Denver Housing Authority?
It is, Sam. Yeah, that made this whole thing feasible. We are so grateful to the voters to pass the D3 bond, and that is, I think, $100 a year for 99 years, which is very much within budget. So thank you, Sam. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well. I've had a chance to visit with Ethan and his group, and kind of let me just tell you my history with Warren Village is that I've been so impressed by the program that they've been running there for so many years. And back in 1985, which I'm going to kind of date myself with, when I was still working at the Loveland Housing Authority, we applied for a special national grant for a program called Project Self-Sufficiency that was modeled actually after Warren Village and another program in Maryland called Independence House. And so I've been a big fan of this program for a long time. You know, we spend a lot of time dealing with the supply side of affordable housing. And I think initiatives like this that really kind of focus on early childhood education and such really kind of address sometimes the supply side, or excuse me, the demand side, so that we have less future demand hopefully when programs like this are successful. So I'll be supporting this program. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. James?
Hi, Ethan. James Martinez. You mentioned Denver Housing Authority. In your contract with Denver Housing Authority, did they give any requirements that you had to hire local individuals through the community you're going to be building through, like for workforce, a certain amount of trying to hire local people for this project?
Not that I'm
This is
aware of.
Melissa. I can hop in on this one.
Thank you.
It'll be the Section 3 workers. It'll be a similar, since we are getting vouchers from DHA, we'll have similar Section 3 requirements through that and through DHA.
Okay, thank you.
Candace?
Hi, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to ask a couple questions. I love the project. I just have 2 questions about the Early Learning Center. Is the 100-child limit, is that going to be all those children coming from the project themselves, or will that be kind of open to the community?
Yeah, thank you for the question. Our absolute goal is to open it to the community. We need a priority to serve our residents, but if our building here is an example, we always have community spaces available. We have talked with St. Rose of Lima, who is a block away, as well as I said, Valverde Elementary, to make sure that we can be synergistic in our work in the community. There's a lot going on, obviously, with Denver Public Schools' recent closure action. So we want to be an effective part of the community. We want to meet the needs there, and we want to, we just want to be part of the community and help out.
Okay, and in that same light, will there be jobs available for the people who live here? I'm hoping so.
Yes, I'll tell you, we really are going to recruit heavily. We have an operational timeline that really starts this fall with the startup activities, and we're working with the new State Department of Education and local partners. But absolutely, we're going to have lots of early learning positions, maintenance positions, other jobs, and we would love to hire from the community.
That'd be great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I have a question on the permanent loan. It looks like First Bank permanent loan, 10.75 million, but then there's a comment that A and B is providing the construction loan and the permanent loan. Is it A and B or is it First Bank?
It's A and B. Initially with the submittal, we came in from, because we really weren't out with an RFP for banks, but when we went out and did it, A and B came in with a very good rate and a 15-year commitment to a fixed rate. So it is A and B.
Okay, great. Thank you for confirming that. And it is the 10.75, not the 10.1 million, which looks like that was approved, but it can go up to 10.75. So we're assuming you're going to max it out then at
Yes.
that level. Okay, great. Thanks
Yeah.
for confirming that.
And as Ryan Jones always reminds us, at this point, all the numbers are still subject to change.
Of course, always. James, did you have another question? Okay,
No.
thanks. Well, thank you for the presentation. We're going to move on to the next application today for us, which is Art Space at Colorado Springs, and presenting will be Fallon Miller.
Thank you, Anthea. So on behalf of Art Space today, Lucas Koski and Will Law will be presenting.
Thanks,
I'll hand it
Fallon. Thanks everyone for having us here. We're really excited to be at this stage. We have been working and were invited into Colorado Springs to try to approach what an affordable housing project could look like in the downtown core back in 2016. And I've been working since that time to bring this project to fruition. So we are now at the place where we're just months away from starting construction and would be able to deliver 51 units of affordable housing for families and workforce housing in downtown Colorado Springs, combination of 41 bedroom units and 11 2-bedroom units right in the heart of downtown Colorado Springs. Some of the things that we heard early on is that there aren't opportunities for people to live affordably in downtown Colorado Springs. And that was hurting both the creative community as well as the workforce, and that people would have to leave in order to afford housing. So one of the things we really wanted to do was to be able to provide housing for kind of the younger demographic and their families to make sure that they had places that were safe, sustainable, and affordable for the long term. The other main thing that we really wanted to address was that there were equitable opportunities for all demographics. Colorado Springs is a rapidly changing metro area, and we wanted to make sure that this was a space and a place for people of all demographic and sectors that they felt comfortable living and building community. So our goal in doing this project and delivering to Colorado Springs is to provide not only housing, but really a space for a community to build, and to be able to call Colorado Springs their home for the foreseeable future. While we have been doing this work, we've had great success in working with El Paso County, providing some private activity bonds in order to achieve the 4% credit, and our partners in the Downtown Development Authority, making sure that we are able to acquire the land and get the community buy-in to make this project successful. Cool. Sorry.
Looking to me.
Yeah, sure.
I think I don't have a lot to add. We have a plan for the first floor, which will be probably kind of creative, focused to businesses that should provide job opportunities for many of our residents that live upstairs as well. So I'm kind of excited about that. And, this is sort of a unique thing. This is our last piece of financing for us to start construction. We actually paper closed on all the other financing prior to year end, because our bonds would have expired if we didn't close in December of last year. So we closed on everything else, and this is the last piece that makes this whole and viable. And as soon as we fill this last piece, hopefully we can do that here today. But that's we can issue a notice to proceed and start construction. So we're excited about that as well.
So all told, the 50 units of housing, majority of this is new construction. We're saving a little bit of an existing space on site for that commercial component that Will talked about. But it's about a 16-month construction window. So we're hoping that people be moving in by the end of 2024. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions or provide any clarifications.
Wonderful. Thank you. And congratulations for getting this far. The fact that you've paper closed must feel like a bit of a relief, hopefully a huge relief. It's a lot of work.
Yes.
Any questions from the board? Sam?
Look, I'm a bit familiar with the art space model.
Yes, you are.
Yes.
Our partner in your previous life.
That's right. That's right. Can you tell the board, has the criteria for admission changed, or how you go about the process of selecting residents?
Yeah, so there's to answer that question gingerly but accurately, we do have a process in place in which we are marketing and targeting creative individuals to live in our building. That's one of the missions of Art Space, is to create, foster, and preserve affordable space for artists and their families. But the way we do that is specific, which is to provide a preference, so that if there are two equal applicants that are both approved as under federal guidelines for housing, the person who has agreed to self-identify as an artist and gone through a public process based on their passion and commitment to the work has a preference over an individual who has not gone through that process. All that to be said, it's within obviously fair housing guidelines, and housing is important for all. But there is a process in place where we are able to provide basically a preferential wait list for people who have that priority artist tag applied to their family and household.
Yeah, thank you, Lucas.
Sam, I would just add a little there, just for clarity. our Trinidad project did not have that preference. Loveland, as you know, does. Our Trinidad and our Ridgeway projects did not have that same preference. And those were done with 9% credits through CHAPA. And CHAPA has a different perception about their comfort level with regard to that process. So when we've used those funds, we've simply relied on kind of an outreach and a marketing strategy, right? To try to attract creatives to the project, but otherwise have had a more standard and straightforward marketing effort. This project, again, is a 4% deal, of course, and specifically has Creative Industry $5 million grant associated with it, which had a requirement that we did use the preference for the creative community, of course, because it was their money doing it. So we just to sort of flesh it out, I want people to know there are kind of different answers for different projects that Artspace is sponsoring, throughout the state, depending on the requirements of specific financing. Sometimes the answer is different. I just wanted to share that all with you because you can hear the different answers, right, in relation to different projects.
Thanks. I appreciate that clarification because I do remember when you brought the project through and not Telluride, but we don't want to say Ridgeway or wherever.
Ridgeway, yes.
And it did seem to have a little bit less of a requirement for the people in the creative industries, and I was kind of curious about that. Just for the rest of the board members' edification, the project in Loveland has been, what is it, 8 years old now, 9 years old?
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah.
And it's been very successful.
And as a little exciting update, we got involved, we did that project really because we were focused on the Feed and Grain, the historic Feed and Grain, which is right next door. And we ended up finishing the housing way before we ever figured out a way to solve the nut on that Feed and Grain. But that's about, 40% through in construction now. And that's going to be 9 units of workforce housing and about 5,000 square feet of art studio space. So we're really proud of the fact that we finally figured out a solution for the Feed and Grain to get that restored in a respectful way that the community can be proud of. So that'll create a much, enhanced campus right next to the project that we partnered with you on as well. So we're excited about that too.
Okay. Thanks very much. Appreciate the answers.
Rick Garcia.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Lucas, Will, nice to see some of you. I don't see Will, but I heard his voice indeed. I'm the executive director of the Colorado Department of Local Affairs, and welcome Monique and Nancy. Wanted to congratulate you also on being appointed to the State Housing Board. Just quickly, a note on the breakdown of the funding sources. There's a City of Colorado Springs fee rebate and sales tax rebate initiative. I think I guess I'm looking for clarification. There was another program that the Division of Local Government in our Department of Local Affairs has been funding since the 21 legislative session called House Bill 1271 that dealt with innovative approaches to affordable housing, increasing supply around the state. The City of Colorado Springs had been awarded some of these funds because of this unique pilot program. And I'm just wondering, I think this is part of that program. I just kind of wanted clarification on that. Lucas or Will, are either of you aware of that?
So the program, the rebate program is brand new. It was rolled out by city ordinance, I believe in October of 22. And I don't know where those funds came from, to be perfectly honest. So if it indeed is part of that and the focus is on any percentage of affordable housing provided by the developer is subject to that rebate or is allowed to that rebate, it would make sense that it would flow into that fund, but I can't say for certain that it is that exact source.
Yeah, I think it pretty much is. It's through the municipal utility company as well, providing those rebates. Yeah, that's the program. I just wanted to call that out because it's always good to note that there's other areas of funding that are supporting a lot of our affordable housing projects around the state. So good news on that. So congratulations.
No, and that was a great example of the city trying to find something to add to the deal in the fall. And we were able to literally be the first applicant for that program. So it was a good use.
Great, thank you.
And Rick, just to touch more on that, yes, it is those 1271 funds. And yes, we just awarded Colorado Springs some more this round a couple days ago. So, and it's going for this program.
Excellent. Hearing no more questions, let's move on to the approval stage for Warren Village 3 in Art Space. If I could please request a motion for approval for both of these projects.
So moved.
Second, this is Candace.
Thank you, Sam and Candace. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Wonderful. Congratulations to both of our applicants today. Next, we're going to move on to the review and update to DOH 2023, the Public Housing Authority Annual Plan. Presenting today will be Catherine Helgerson.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to share my screen. Thank you for your patience while I navigate technology in front of a lot of people. Okay. Good afternoon. Thank you, everybody, for allowing me a sliver of time in your meeting today to discuss the annual PHA plan that the Office of Rental Assistance is submitting to HUD. Sorry, technology. Okay. Hello, my name is Catherine Helgerson. I'm the director of the Office of Rental Assistance at the Colorado Division of Housing. I don't have a lot of interaction with the State Housing Board. I think maybe once a year you see me as I provide the updates to our annual PHA plan. The Office of Rental Assistance is a team of 20 staff located across the state, and we act as the public housing authority with statewide jurisdiction for voucher administration in the state of Colorado. Currently, we're responsible for the administration of more than 9,000 vouchers across the state. That's both federal and state-funded programs. Obviously, as a team of 20, we can't do that on our own. We instead opt for a partnership model where we contract with local agencies across the state to do that voucher administration work for us. And our team of 20 act as the entity that pays landlords, and we provide technical assistance to our partners across the state, as well as completing the monitoring and auditing to ensure that all of the work is being done per HUD regulations. Each year, we are required to submit to HUD our PHA annual plan. The PHA plan is a comprehensive guide to public housing agency policies, program operations, and strategies for meeting local housing needs and goals. There are two parts to that plan. We have the 5-year plan, which we have to submit to HUD once every 5th PHA fiscal year, and then our annual plan, which of course is submitted to HUD on an annual basis. I provided here a link to our current drafted PHA plan that's on our website. It's still in draft status as we go through the process of a public hearing and having HUD's approval. Our next 5-year plan, which is a much larger ordeal, is due to HUD in April 2025. And for everyone's information here, our public hearing is currently scheduled for our annual plan in a couple weeks on March 24th at 1:00 p.m. And each year we have to identify to HUD if we've made a revision to one of several elements to the PHA plan that they deem important. This year we have made a revision to the rent determination element of our program. And it is to the benefit of our participants. However, we still have to obtain public comment or allow an opportunity for public comment on that change. But we wanted to share with the board what that change is. So we have revised our interim policy related to rent calculation to support and encourage gainful employment. As it stands, prior to this updated PHA plan, we require our families to report anytime they begin working, receive wage income within 10 days, and then we make a change to their rent which is based off of their income. So their rent increases that following month. We have made a change to this to allow our families to kind of take a break. They still have to report to us that they have started working, but we're not going to count their wage income until their next annual reexamination. So that does offer some families an opportunity to realize gainful employment and what the benefits are. They don't see their rent going up the next month. To some people, that doesn't feel like it's worth it to find employment. And so we're making that change that unless they're a family at zero income, we will allow them to earn some money, save some money, pay down some debt, and then we'll count that at their next re-exam. Again, we are a unique PHA. We don't have to obtain board approval when we make these changes. However, we do like to present it to our board, but ultimately Rick Garcia, our executive director, will sign off on that change. That's my update. I'm open to take any questions.
Thank you so much for the detailed update. Do we have any questions from the board? Okay. So much detail. There were no questions, Catherine. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. That is all on our agenda today. Thank you all for attending the State Housing Board meeting and look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Cynthia.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.